Greetings from the simulacrum. Today, we're going to talk about Kim Kardashian's recent defamation lawsuit against Ray J and how it can actually tell us a lot more about the role that courtrooms play to American myth.
And that's what's happening!
Ma'am, you want to talk about this? Let me hear from you all.
In October 2025, Kim Kardashian, whose life has been lived almost entirely in public, filed a lawsuit to protect her public image from Ray J, the man with whom she shares the origin myth of her global fame, the sex tape. In May 2025 and later September, Ray J made claims that suggest that the family has long been up to Diddy-style criminality. Unlike celebrities like Hailey Bieber and Cardi B,
do you foresee any paternity issues with Stephon Diggs?
the Kardashians tend to opt for a laissez-faire, all press is good press approach to the relentless discourse that circulates about them. If anything, the past proves that Kim is more protective of her IP than her reputation.
She is suing Old Navy clothing brand for between $15 and $20 million for what she says is unauthorized use of her likeness and persona in their new ad campaign.
With the exception, as some of my commenters have wisely pointed out, Kim's 2016 libel suit against Media Takeout for publishing articles that suggested that her Paris robbery had been a publicity stunt. I'd somehow forgotten about that, but the legal action only further proves that her ordeal had been real. She was prepared to undergo discovery to prove the truth was on her side.
The American Bar Association defines discovery as the formal process of exchanging information between the parties about the witness and evidence they will present at trial. Discovery helps evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the case, encouraging settlement before trial.
But now, in the age of such monstrous Diddy and Epstein revelations, which have shaken the public's view of American political and pop culture, I'm guessing that the Kardashians have decided that Ray J's claims have crossed a line. And perhaps that line is self-evident, but I would like to give more time down the line to exploring exactly why this kind of comparison would be considered by the family to be untenable compared to others that have been leveled against them. The method that Kim chose to defend herself was a civil defamation action, and the medium she chose was an institution older than the country itself. I typically get tired and bored quickly when there's a tea-thirsty approach to Kardashian content, but taking someone on the path to a defamation trial is a huge risk, and it could expose boatloads of tea about the family's mysterious and powerful machinations. If this case goes to trial, it will be a big deal, and I'm experiencing anticipatory fascination with the cultural impact that it could have. The paradox is apparent. A defamation suit is designed to restore dignity and suppress damaging speech, but the mechanism for doing so is incredibly public. When a celebrity is involved, every filing becomes a press release, every declaration, including Kim's own recent one describing her concern that Ray J's statements could destroy her dream of practicing law, becomes content. I want to unpack that paradox and the gamble that the Kardashians have taken by taking it on, but even beyond that, I'm often in my work in general striving to make sense of the long history of public figures using the courtroom as a narrative medium. To understand what's at stake, we ought to go over the specific accusations and the legal actions that followed them. This has been an ever more complicated tango. It began on May 30th, 2025, during a TMZ special. Ray J, whose legal name is William Ray Norwood Jr., he's Brandy's brother, appeared on camera defending Diddy, and he said,
"If you told me that the Kardashians was being charged for racketeering, I might believe it. But Diddy..."
This was deniable phrasing, a simple suggestion that the public was invited to ponder. Then, on September 24th, in a Twitch live stream, Ray J escalated his claim.
The federal RICO I'm about to drop on Chris and Kim is about to be crazy.
And then there was the line that likely brought about the lawsuit.
The feds is coming. There's nothing I can do about it. It's worse than Diddy.
It's worse than Diddy. On October 1st, 2025, Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner filed a civil defamation complaint in Los Angeles Superior Court, alleging that Ray J made false statements that damaged their reputations. The complaint argues that the statements were calculated falsehoods and that no federal investigation of any kind exists or has ever been initiated against either woman. They are seeking actual and punitive damages at a jury trial. Ray J didn't stop. On a separate Twitch appearance after the suit was filed, he claimed that Kim had paid him somewhere between $5 and $6 million in 2023 as hush money, which suggested that there was something to be hushed about. He claimed what he characterized as a decades-long pattern of mistreatment by the Kardashian family, going back to 2013 when he released the song I Hit It First.
She might move on to rappers and ball players, but we all know I hit it first. I hop in the club.
He also made a legal response, filing a countersuit claiming that Kim and Kris had themselves breached the terms of the original 2007 sex tape settlement by discussing the tape on their Hulu series, The Kardashians.
I want to show you guys what he got me. He got me all of the sex tape back.
Oh my God.
This is a breach of contract claim. It's distinct from the defamation suit. It does not argue that anyone lied, but that someone violated the confidentiality terms of a binding agreement. If it advances, it will require the uncovering of the settlement itself, terms that have never been made public, plus the communications surrounding its negotiation. His attorneys also moved to dismiss the Kardashian-Jenner's defamation case on an anti-SLAPP grounds. So, as of filing, there are 3 legal actions in play: Kim and Kris's defamation suit, Ray J's breach of contract countersuit, and Ray J's motion to dismiss. Last month, February 2026, both Kim and Kris filed sworn declarations in support of their defamation cases. Kris's statement called Ray J's statements outrageous and untrue and said she had watched Ray J publicly terrorize my daughter for 2 decades. The Diddy comparison, she wrote, was a horrific lie. Kim's declaration described a specific fear, that the statements, if allowed to go uncorrected, would damage her chances of passing the bar exam and practicing law. At the motion hearing, Ray J's lawyers argued that he'd only been messing around. No one of sound mind would have really believed his statements, and trolling is not slander.
Objection. Why is this relevant?
Oh, I have a point, I promise.
Then make it.
The question will become whether such a level of trolling can do enough damage to ruin someone's plans for their life, especially people as powerful as the Kardashian matriarchy, whose antics and media machine has inspired endless speculation and deconstruction and outrage. The journalist Walter Lippmann published a book called Public Opinion. Its central argument, that our perception is often based on culturally imposed preconceptions, has grown more pressing with every passing decade. For the most part, he wrote, we do not first see and then define. We define first, and then we see. Scientific studies would later mostly prove him right. We cope with the scale and complexity of our world through what Lippmann called the pseudo-environment, simplified mental models built from stereotypes. They're kind of pre-existing cognitive templates, rather than from direct experience. Mass media plays a big role in shaping those templates. The world, he argued, that we have to deal with politically is out of reach, out of sight, out of mind. What we're able to hold in our heads about public figures is an image of them assembled from news and rumor and narrative that precedes any encounter with facts. Stuart Hall, who coined the encoding and decoding media framework, might add that we decode these images and narratives based on our own vantage points and social positionality. And I suspect that Lippmann would join him in arguing that our understanding of our stereotype-driven pseudo-environments is shaped by what aligns with our own needs and values. So for those who hate the Kardashians and want to see them taken down, Ray J's accusations offer a welcome proof of their deviousness. For Team Kim, Ray J is a great emergent villain of a long familiar character.
With all of the hoopla about it being Ray J and people trying to blame him, did you see him on the cover of Playgirl? Did you see him in the centerfold of Playgirl? Okay, so I think that the question should be directed elsewhere. Okay.
In my own book, in a chapter about the relevance of the OJ trial to Kim's myth, I write that when I polled my Kardashian colloquium audience, 50% of thousands of respondents said they would like to see Ray J take the Kardashians to trial. And that chapter was written long before any of this latest drama unfolded. For celebrities, especially new media breeds like Kim, who have figured out how to curate their personas using social media and reality-based material, this distinction between public life and whoever one might be IRL is not philosophical. The line, or lack thereof, between public and private is defining. Kim Kardashian, as we know her, is all that she puts out for us by way of screens, a billion-dollar shapewear business in Elle Wood's law school era.
I object.
A reputation for being a masterful shapeshifter.
I don't think they believe me. I don't think they believe that I was going to do it.
And resilient family woman. That picture is what Ray J attacked when he declared on that September live stream that it's worse than Diddy. He was inserting a contaminating new picture of Kim into the media ecosystem that had already been recently reconfigured by massive sex and abuse scandals. This is why courts can award damages but cannot fully repair reputations. The correction is always downstream of the contamination. Lippmann, who felt that we perceive reality through predefined notions due to cognitive limitations, would have seen the Kim versus Ray J case as a battle over whose picture of the Kardashians will survive.
Are you mocking me with that outfit?
Guy Debord's 1967 Situationist Manifesto, The Society of the Spectacle, opens with yet another prophetic sentence. All that was once directly lived, he writes, has become mere representation. Authentic social life has been replaced entirely by relationships between images and our identification with them. We consume and circulate all the symbols of identity and values and lifestyle rather than being in the here and now. Within this system, the celebrity is the spectacle's most efficient product, and courtrooms are perfect sites for its display. So as we know, the Kardashian family's fame did not originate in athletic excellence or artistic creation or political power. It originated in proximity and mediation. A famous trial, O.J. Simpson's, where Kim's late father served as a defense attorney, a story that was later reproduced by Ryan Murphy in 2016, or a famous friendship in which Kim was positioned to represent an underdog archetype, or a titillating sex tape, or a reality TV show about the lives of self-appointed reality stars. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, lauded by some for its early seasons' relatability, was not a documentary of authentic life. Keeping Up with the Kardashians was a spectacle in which the performance of authenticity was the point, and over time became the moneymaker.
Kim, you're doing amazing, sweetie.
Push this knee out.
Have you ever seen pussy willows? It's like snowing pussy willows.
Okay, don't say that one more time. You sound really stupid.
Debord might observe that within this system, a defamation lawsuit is not an escape from the spectacle. It is just another episode of it. He describes the spectacle as the existing order's uninterrupted discourse about itself, its laudatory monologue. The important word here is uninterrupted. When Depp vs. Heard was live streamed in 2022, it did not disrupt celebrity culture. It became the most consumed piece of celebrity content in the world at that time, generating billions of TikTok views, Team Heard versus Team Depp fan communities, and documentaries. The courtroom was absorbed into the spectacle's logic. So Kim cannot sue herself out of the spectacle because the lawsuit itself is spectacular. And in my book, I suggest that she already understands this. So even though, through Lippmann's logic, Ray J has put Kim in a position to defend her reputation from the contaminant of a Diddy comparison, Debord's notion of the spectacle as all-consuming could come in handy, as it historically has for Donald Trump.
You in over your head, son?
Absolutely.
In 1973, the young real estate developer was facing a federal civil rights lawsuit alleging that he and his father had systematically excluded black renters from their New York properties. The evidence, by most accounts, was substantial. His response was to hire Roy Cohn. This myth was recently reanimated by the excellent 2024 film about Cohn's mentorship of Trump, The Apprentice. Cohn was already a legend when Trump brought him on to defend his family's business. He had been McCarthy's chief counsel during the Red Scare, had prosecuted the Rosenbergs, had defended organized crime figures and corporate titans, and had been indicted 3 times on federal charges, but acquitted each time through a combination of legal brilliance and equally savvy performativity. According to Cohn's cousin, Cohn had told Trump, "You might be guilty, it doesn't matter. Go after the Justice Department. Don't ever admit guilt." And what followed laid the template for everything that came after. The Trumps filed a $100 million countersuit against the Justice Department claiming defamation, reframing a civil rights enforcement action as political persecution. The countersuit failed and they ultimately settled, but the outcome was irrelevant. Cohn declared victory anyway and articulated the principle that would govern Trump's relationship to litigation for the next 50 years. The more you treat a courtroom as a medium for narrative control, the more you can flood it with information and allow a spectacle to do its thing until everyone has adapted to its ceaselessness. The Cohn doctrine famously goes this way.
You want to know how to win? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There's rules. Roy Cohn's 3 rules of winning.
The first rule is the simplest. Attack, attack, attack.
Rule 2. Admit nothing. Deny everything.
Rule 3. This is the most important rule of all. Okay? No matter what happens, no matter what they say about you, no matter how beaten you are, you claim victory and never admit defeat. Never admit defeat, Don. You want to win, that's how you win.
Donald Trump has been involved in over 5,000 lawsuits. He did not expect to win them all. The stress and expense of litigation was the point. Make the accuser regret ever saying anything. As we know, his second presidency has been rife with legal drama, but none of these incidents ever became viral in proportion to their significance because there were just too many to keep track of. But even that is only part of the point. ABC News settled a defamation suit for $15 million, paid to Trump's presidential library. Paramount settled a separate case for $16 million under similar conditions. conditions. Legal experts have noted that both settlements may have been driven less by legal merit than by what discovery would have forced into the open, internal communications that neither network wanted to produce in court. The Cohn doctrine does have one weakness. When whatever has been concealed from the public is worse than the accusation, discovery doesn't protect you. It can actually prove the case against you.
Andrew Beckett was fired. You'll hear two explanations for why he was fired. Ours and theirs. It is up to you to sift through layer upon layer of truth until you determine for yourselves which version sounds the most true.
Irving Goffman's 1959 study, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, proposed that social life is fundamentally theatrical. We perform our identities on what Goffman called the front stage, the setting in which we present ourselves to audiences. Behind it lies the backstage, which he defined as a place relative to a given performance where the impression fostered by the performances is knowingly contradicted as a matter of course. The backstage is where the masks come off and the machinery of reputation management become visible. Goffman understood that a successful front stage performance was dependent on the audience's inability to access the backstage. He wrote that when an individual is in the presence of others, those others seek to acquire information about him, and the entire apparatus of social performance is oriented to controlling what information they get. By this logic, it almost goes without saying that the celebrity industrial apparatus is the most sophisticated front stage management system ever made. Publicists, NDAs, legal settlements, reality television editing suites, Instagram filters, media appearances, all of it curates what reaches the audience. And the Kardashians actually stand apart from traditional celebrities because they manufacture the image that they have already allowed us access into their backstage. Kim's defamation lawsuit is risky precisely because civil discovery is a legally mandated backstage raid. Their opposing party is entitled to demand communications, financial records, and depositions that would never, under ordinary circumstances, become public. In Depp versus Heard, that backstage curtain crash was catastrophic. Both parties' private communications, medical records, financial disclosures, and the full machinery of how each had been managing their own narrative became trial exhibits, capturing a global public in the form of content. Another well-known case, called Wagatha Christie by the British press, can be considered a defamation case cautionary tale. Rebecca Vardy sued Colleen Rooney for publicly accusing her of leaking tabloid stories. Vardy denied it and sued back. But then Discovery produced Vardy's WhatsApp messages and they contradicted everything. She and her lawyer tried to hide even more proof of her lies by claiming her phone had gotten lost in the ocean. It was a massive, humiliating loss. For Kim, the backstage most at risk is the shady 2007 sex tape settlement, an agreement with terms that have never been made public. If that countersuit advances, Discovery becomes a mechanism for producing the original settlement's terms and the communications surrounding its negotiation, and it might settle the age-old debate about whether the tape had been made and leaked intentionally.
Did you help Kim release her sex tape?
It's okay. No.
True. Of course it's true!
Thank you!
Of course it's true!
To be honest, I never really cared about whether the tape was the result of an authentic leak or a fame-chasing strategy, but I am interested in how the courtroom becomes such a mythological space, transforming messy emotional disputes into narratives of truth versus lie, guilt versus innocence. Such a black and white format imposes a simplifying narrative that real life lacks. And when a celebrity enters a courtroom, they become a figure in a new kind of narrative. Hero, victim, or villain. Truth teller or liar. This is why the Simpson verdict divided a nation, and why the Depp verdict divided the internet, and why the Blac Chyna defamation verdict was received as proof of the Kardashians' institutional invincibility. Verdicts can be cultural events. I'm just really curious to observe the scale that this event might or might not reach. As of March 2026, the case has not gone to trial and no trial date has been set. What it has produced so far is a single hearing that managed to be both legally significant and completely unhinged, which is to say very on brand for everyone involved.
The responsibility and the power is yours, not me, not God, you.
The hearing in question was Ray J's anti-SLAPP motion, his bid to have the defamation suit dismissed before it reaches discovery. Anti-SLAPP statutes, strategic lawsuit against public participation, exist in California to protect people from being sued simply for speaking in public. The defense's argument, delivered in open court, was that Ray J's statements were not defamation. They were just trolling. Trolling, his attorneys argued, is not slander. This is a genuinely interesting legal position because it's not totally without merit. Courts have sometimes sometimes found that hyperbolic public statements cannot be taken as statements of fact, because if no reasonable person believed Ray J actually had a federal RICO case against the Kardashians, the argument would go, then no reputational damage that defamation law could protect then occurred. But the thing is, I think, everyone knows that everyone thinks that the Kardashians could be capable of anything. The hearing also produced a fascinating ChatGPT case study. Court filings from December disclosed that on September 2nd, 2025, 3 weeks before his live stream, Ray J had consulted an AI chatbot asking it whether his RICO case against the Kardashians was strong, and the chatbot told him that it was. And he appears to have taken this as meaningful validation, and his attorneys disclosed this in open court. That alone is hilarious, but what is fascinating about it is that in November, about 1 month after Ray J's chatbot consultation, while promoting her law drama, All's Fair, Kim Kardashian sat down with Tiana Taylor for a Vanity Fair lie detector interview and disclosed on camera with a lie detector that ChatGPT had misguided her in her own law studies.
Do you consider ChatGPT to be your friend?
No. I use it for legal advice. So when I am needing to know the answer to a question, I'll take a picture and snap it and like put it in there.
So you're cheating?
They're always wrong. It has made me fail tests.
Are you serious?
All the time.
She had foolishly trusted it, and it had given her wrong answers. This admission went viral as headlines across major outlets mocked her. So while researching for this piece, I pulled a Walter Lippmann and applied a preconceived notion of Kardashian media machination, and I assumed that the timing of her confession to Tiana Taylor meant that she had been aware of Ray J's foolish ChatGPT search, and during her conversation with Tiana, shared this story to demonstrate the absurdity of trusting ChatGPT, basically causing the world unknowingly to make fun of Ray J and undermine his credibility, sending him a subtweet or sending all of us a subliminal message. But then I realized, after more careful piecing together of the timeline, that it was more likely that the Kardashians learned of his chat search when it was included in the December anti-slap filings, after she had confessed her misguided reliance on ChatGPT to Tiana. So it's just a case of very coincidental, crazy, dramatic irony. But if anything, it's more likely that Ray J's lawyers saw the November media cycle making fun of Kim's naivete and opted to include Ray J's error as part of his defense. The idea being, I can't be held accountable for what I said. ChatGPT gave me bad information. The same folly even befell my opponent. Anyway, the judge took the anti-slap motion under submission and requested additional briefing. She's not yet ruled, and if she grants the motion, the defamation case is over before discovery even begins. A clean win for Ray J. If she denies it, the case proceeds, and then Ray J's countersuit remains live and discovery opens on both fronts. And that is when things get interesting for all involved, including the public. Who knows how it unfolds, but if it gets really, really good, maybe Ryan Murphy will make a show about it and Kim will produce.